through the kind support of the Friends of That's What She Said. Support BCTV by visiting bctv.org/support.
It used to be great, now it's not so great, but it's still pretty great. Reading. Ate pretzels nonstop and pot pie no top. More dessert till we drop. Perks. Did they really say that? They did not say that. Yeah, they did say that. That's what she said.
Well, my goodness, here we are. That's what she said, and I'm in the studio. Isn't that exciting? I have come back from Florida, and I'm so happy to be here with you all. As you know, that's what she said. You can tweet us at @she tweets to me, or call us at 610-378-0426. I thought it used to be 05. Anyway, it's 610-378-0426. They haven't changed a thing. I've changed. But it is so good to be back, and, well, let's get the intros done with. Here we go.
Me, Sheila.
Martha.
Nicole.
And our special guest tonight.
Heather.
Yay!
If you're a regular watcher, you've seen Heather before.
Happy
if you haven't,
birthday to you.
Oh.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jane. Happy birthday to you. See, we missed you.
Oh my!
All this fanfare
Oh my
because
goodness!
not just your birthday, but we're glad you're back.
Should I open this now?
Yes,
oh,
absolutely.
all right. I love the cheering squad.
Pom-poms and all.
Sheila's been schooling us. Right.
Excellent.
What do I
Without a flag, we use pom-poms.
Yeah, exactly.
All,
Flags in here would be dangerous.
all heart and smiles and all goodness and grace. Oh. And love so much all the time. Happy birthday. Oh.
I love that.
Thank you, my darlings. Oh, and look, I can listen to it on Spotify. It's not just a musical card, it's an advertisement. Isn't that lovely?
It is an advertisement.
Maybe all through the show I'm going to go.
That's so funny.
See, you should have waited till after the show was over to give this to me.
You can use that instead of a beat.
I regret nothing. I know, that was awesome.
Well, thank
Hey,
you.
we have a call already.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, get started.
Well,
This
thanks
is
for
awesome.
calling in. Who are you?
Hi, Kirk, it's Susan. Or hi, Jane, it's Susan. Sorry.
Who's Kirk?
That's Jamie's friend.
Yeah. Oh.
I just wanted to call to say happy birthday to Jane and to Kirk tomorrow.
Yes, it is his birthday tomorrow.
That's right.
So maybe our friend Kirk. It's Jamie's husband. Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
And happy birthday to Kirk, too.
Well, thank
birthday,
you.
everyone.
Thank you, darling. It's good to be remembered at this age.
I'm so happy
Yes,
to
indeed. That's what he gets me my age.
Thank you.
Anyway, have a good evening.
We can barely hear you. Are you?
I'm
you still
sorry.
there?
I think
Oh,
we lost
I guess
her.
you're gone. Thank you for
No,
calling
I'm still
in.
here.
Thank you for calling in.
Sure thing.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Well, that was exciting.
That was. I love when people
A
call
birthday greeting. And remember, yes, see, the phone works. 610-378-0426. It's that number. That's what she
Call
called.
us.
All us.
That's what she called.
That's what she called.
We're going to start a new program on
I love
BCTV. We're going to do prank calls all evening for a half hour, and we're going to do.
I love prank calls.
We're going to. That's what she called. That would be. Well, we've gone off the rails right away. See what happens when I come back.
That's so
Jamie's
good.
going to be very happy that I was gone for all this time. Speaking of whirlwinds, Harvey.
I'm so
What
scared
did you?
for
Where
these
did you think I was
people.
going with that?
It was a whirlwind.
There's so many possibilities.
Well, that's true.
My very best friend in the whole world, Mary, she actually lives in Houston.
Oh, my dear.
And her husband is Coast Guard. And so he's essentially been on duty for the last 48 hours. She's been posting updates. Luckily, where she is, the roads are wet. There was some flooding yesterday, but that has receded in just her area. But everywhere around her is completely flooded. She said they're like this island of non-flooding.
What?
And she's nervous, but they've started evacuating more areas in Houston.
Well, they say it's
Well, her
still
husband's still
continuing
gonna
to
have
rise.
Because my husband is a Coast Guard auxiliary member, and they are drumming up
Yay.
recruits
Yeah.
to go
Yay,
to
Coast Guard.
across the country.
They might meet each other.
To go down. Well, he's not going.
Oh, he's not going. Oh, never mind. They won't meet each other.
It's been a
But-
unilateral decision. He's not going.
But yeah.
I'm nervous for these people.
Well, my best friend is there. I'm scared. I want her to be okay.
Some of the pictures have been awful. I think we're in better control than we were with Katrina in New Orleans. I see a lot more. I saw some enormous houses that are being flooded in some very highly residential areas.
Well, they were talking on the radio today. The more we build up and make non-permeable surfaces
Exactly.
on the earth,
Exactly.
especially where,
Causing
yes, there's
Exactly.
nowhere for the water to run.
Right.
Right.
And a lot of these areas in Texas are below or are
At
close
or-
to sea
right.
Right.
level. And when you have no place to put the water,
And
the water is
Houston
just going to
is
flood.
so built up and
Oh,
so
it's a
paved
major
over
city.
that they really have. They've been courting disaster, I think, for a long time.
And I'm sorry, I don't understand the people who refuse to evacuate. I understand loving your possessions, wanting to hold your ground and stay with your home.
Well, you know, the mayor
but-
told them not to evacuate.
well, in that area,
And
but there are other
in
areas.
Houston, but and he was on last night and said, you know, there would have been 5 million people evacuating. That in itself spells even a bigger disaster. And
Yeah,
I mean, he's been
overcrowding and such.
criticized for telling people to stay, you know, in their homes, but I think that he
dangerous
did
for
a
them to leave,
that
too.
the evacuation would have been even worse, probably.
I agree, because I forget who I was talking to. It might have even been Mary, who said there's like one good highway out of there.
Right.
And it would
And
just have
it's
been
flooded.
clogged. And now
Well, they
it's
showed
flooded.
it, that the
and
water was up to the
yeah.
yeah, those signs that are way up
Raining a
there.
couple of years ago.
Yeah, I know.
At one time, but it was a day long affair. And
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just like, it was catch-22. And so, you know, I don't know. I just hope it recedes soon. I saw some pictures of a nursing home where
That
people are
was
sitting
really
in
scary.
wheelchairs
They
with
showed
water
them,
here.
but
Oh,
tonight
my
they showed
goodness.
all those
Sad.
women. They showed all those women. And they're all standing and they're waving. They're somewhere dry
They're
and
evacuated,
changed.
yeah.
But I loved the one woman because she just sat there and knitted. Water's up to here. She figured, what the
You know
heck?
what?
There's nothing to do but knit.
Yeah, I mean, they had to wait.
Yeah,
so
but that was really
that's so
frightening.
neat.
Something else that
Really
came up on
frightening.
the news was half of the homes are uninsured.
Oh my gosh. So
From
they're
my
in
understanding,
Yeah.
what's the thoughts of a flood?
I mean,
in that
indeed,
area?
a lot of them
Yeah.
didn't have flood insurance
Right.
because
Yep.
they're not in the 100-year floodplain
Right.
area.
Well,
That's sad. That's
one
really
year
They lost
101.
it's
I was just going to say that. This is the 101-year.
Well, it's like, I mean, Jamie lives on one of the hilly streets in
Right,
Reading.
right.
And you don't expect anything here.
No.
But that 1 in a million chance somehow
It could
it
happen.
floods. Of course, he doesn't have flood insurance because.
But we had rain, and this was a long time ago.
Jamie get flood insurance.
Because my
Do
son,
you?
but my
I think
son
you
was
should get
still
it.
in high school, and we had so much rain that I got stuck at the Turkey Hill on 5th Street Highway in Temple. I live in Temple, and I couldn't leave from there
You got stuck in there.
because of the rain. All the streets were flooded, and I got in there and had to wait for a couple hours until finally Barry was able to drive down and get me because it was.
Wow.
I'd have been there all night if he hadn't been there.
That's
And
scary.
it was like 6 blocks from where I
Well,
live.
when I was down in Florida, now, where I was in Fort Myers was either at sea level or below, there was a street that went to the place where I was staying, and if it rained really heavily, the road, which looked flat, while a section of it would get like that deep. And one night I was going through it with my car, and I didn't realize that. When I always thought, well, how can you not realize that the road is dangerously flooded? I know that now.
But Jane, how can you live in Reading and not know that the Spring Street subway is going to be flooded? And
I didn't know that.
And someone,
Well-
you didn't? It's like this, and then somebody always gets stuck in it.
Well,
Every
indeed.
storm.
I mean,
Yes.
just every storm.
Every storm.
Somebody thinks,
It's
nah.
just bizarre.
They're making the best of it. I mean, I saw a video of a guy
they are.
in his house chasing a fish that swam into his house. Like,
Right, I saw that.
That's adorable.
But a lady also found 2 alligators in her backyard.
forget about it.
Yes,
Oh.
see, now that's the scary thing
Yeah.
is there's going to be a lot of displaced alligators coming into the area, and that's where I'm like, peace out
Well,
on
isn't
that
that
one.
why we're building the wall, to keep those?
What a gentle segue that was. And thank you, Becca. It's good to be
Drug-running
back.
alligators.
Yes, what a gentle segue that was to our new segment, which we don't have an intro to, but one day we will.
We will.
We
Shake your
will.
pom-poms,
Shake 'em.
ladies.
It's our Trump update, or what we call our Trump date,
Trump date.
which is an unpleasant thought if you think about it.
A Trump date.
Because who would want to date him?
Well, a few people have dated him. I mean, he's been married a few times.
I mean, just
Boy.
imagine trying to run your hand through that.
Nah, not today.
Yeah.
No.
Or-
What does it? I want to know what it looks like when he wakes up.
Wow.
I think he probably sleeps sitting up,
In a
Where?
coffin.
don't you think? In a coffin.
So my goodness, where do we start?
That's the
He's
problem.
been up- he's
Where
been up-
do we start?
Yeah, he's been up to kind of a lot of things lately.
He's a wacky little guy.
Yeah.
Up to all sorts of mischief.
You know, I just said this before the show, but I'll say it very honestly now. I can't laugh, I can't make fun of, I don't even want to look at a man who is head of my country, who didn't have the whatever to actually condemn outright people parading
Yeah.
with swastikas.
Yeah.
In our country, when I have friends whose family members died in the Holocaust, I don't even want to look at him. There is nothing he could do to redeem himself, as far as I'm concerned, unless he resigned this evening would be great. But I'm sorry, that takes freedom of speech and the right to assemble a little bit beyond, I'm sure, what our forefathers expected when they wrote the Constitution.
It does seem that way. It
Sorry.
seems it seems to me that every new week we come up with some new line that we are shocked that is crossed.
Yeah,
But
and
it
it's
is
just
crossed.
pushing that line of acceptable action back. And everything
Exactly.
that happens, everyone's shocked and awed, and then, oh well, you know, we have no choice. And then it moves back further, and then another thing comes.
These things have always, he didn't invent these movements. He didn't invent this bigotry. This has been around, but what he's doing is
Perpetuating
making
it.
it normal and acceptable. And I find that absolutely deplorable. Amen. So now. My last serious note for tonight.
Oh, I doubt that.
The military man. The military man.
the trans military. How do you what you've been in the military? What do you what
Oh, here we go.
Uh-oh. Spotlight on you.
Florrie, what do you think of the trans military ban?
Personally, my opinion is if you are going through the changes and the surgeries, fine, dandy, but if you come into the military as a woman, you will be a woman to me. But if you're going to go through the surgeries, you're going to change to a male, but they're still going to keep you as a female, I believe. I don't, to each his own. That is my opinion.
But do you feel it's
I think that that's going to put a lot of stress and pressures on the military members trying to figure out the sensitivity factors.
But haven't they been dealing with that already? Because there are
They
several
have.
thousand
but it was never this big of an issue. It was never.
Well, see, that's the thing, and it
That's-
shouldn't.
yeah,
it
and
shouldn't have been an
I don't
issue.
think
Made it an issue. Other countries haven't made a big deal about this.
I imagine that it's hard enough getting decent, good people to be part of the military in the first place, because it is a hard life. It is a tough job that none of us who haven't done it can even imagine. But
I can't either.
if you're willing to put yourself out there to do that job, I think, and you're trained to do it, I think the military should be open to anyone who is capable.
Completed the training.
Indeed.
Right.
Right. I mean, it is. I imagine it's rigorous training that not everybody.
But not all the females go through the same amount of training as the males when it comes to specialty jobs. So that would be one of the sensitivity issues, to me personally, to each his own. I mean, if you want to do it, go for it. You're not going to bother me as long as you can do your job.
But
That's the bottom line.
And I think that's it.
That's the bottom line.
I mean, I think what's so offensive about the thing is that it became the whole, the monetary reasons. It's like, no, we know that.
He also said something about psychological issues too. That there's some sense of instability in people who are transgender.
Indeed, but I think everyone's capable of being
Unstable, sure, all of us
unstable
are.
issues,
Yeah.
and I think
Right.
that-
It doesn't have anything to do with being transgender. I mean, that's just
Indeed.
that was just one of the things they threw out there.
Yeah.
But I don't agree with that either. I mean,
I think it's, I don't know how to say this, but I think it's smoke and mirrors. I think they're pulling an issue to cover up something else that they don't want to
we
talk
have a
about.
home viewer.
That's
We-
personally what I'm thinking.
We do. We have a home viewer. Welcome to That's What She Said. Who are you? Hello, welcome
Can't
to...
hear you.
Hello.
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 Hi, Mom.
That's my child.
This is the mom's side.
You know there's lag on the TV, and I just wanted to say that you look amazing on TV. All of you do.
We love you.
Thank you.
That's so cool. I'm glad
So
she's
good.
watching.
How sweet.
Indeed.
Another good
What?
segue.
Michael says hi, and we want to wish you all a good night.
Thank you for calling in.
That's adorable.
Let's
She's
see.
16.
Super sweet.
Oh, and yes, school time. It's back to school time. Now, mine was long ago and far away, and I was homeschooled in the brothel, but so I didn't have any real ritual. I was schooled whenever they wanted to school me. But did anyone have special, when you were a kid, just those rituals before you went to school that first day?
When I was little, we always went school shopping, which was the greatest thing. Got a couple new outfits. But then what I would do is lay out different outfits upstairs, and I became Alana, the fashion model. And I would put on the different outfits, and I made my parents sit in the living room and applaud. I came down and I'd be like, and my dad, true to form, who's the greatest guy, he'd be like, and Alana is now wearing the latest fall look, which is a plaid skirt and black sweater. She looks fantastic in this. Ladies, you all, like, he would do the whole spiel. He's the best dad ever. Like, he's hilarious.
That is so cute.
So, and I mean, an hour. We would do this for an hour, and that was always, that's how I started
Before school ritual.
I used to do a thing when I was teaching, and when I first started teaching, salaries weren't very high. And
Are they high now?
and so
through the roof.
I would save quarters. Now at that time, this actually worked. It wouldn't today, but I would save quarters all year. And the weekend before school started, Barry and the kids and I would get very dressed up and go to a place like Stokesy for dinner, for a very different dinner. That was
That's a fun tradition.
And I would have enough money saved just from saving quarters, which I wouldn't pay in quarters, honestly. I went and got.
I was wondering, that was my next
That was our back to
classy
school.
way to end the meal.
That was our back to school ritual.
to pay for your meal.
Yeah,
That was good. Here.
Right, here it is. Here's my quarters.
All right, I have to pause here and say, I know Jamie's little head is exploding because people are playing with
Oh, all
That's
right.
me.
I was
Guilty.
good. I put mine down.
I control myself through the entire
Sorry.
show to not do this.
I'm
because
fidgety.
he tells me about it every time I do it.
I
But
probably
yes,
did the same thing.
well, did he tell you about it?
I don't know.
Oh, well, there you go.
Forget.
Any other home ritual, school rituals?
Pink foam curlers.
Oh,
that was
yes.
the first day of school, and then it didn't. My curls never lasted.
Right.
But every night, we always had the pink foam curlers.
Oh, my.
Yeah, that was fun.
I think you should wear them here sometime.
I will.
Ooh.
I totally will.
Yeah.
I think
I'm down.
today that I've heard so many stories about people taking their little ones, just starting school, for backpacks. And my son has a friend who sent me a picture of his little girl. Her name's Sophia. When she started kindergarten, and Sophia has a mind of her own. She's a tiny little girl, and so her dad took her in to get a backpack and said, pick the one you want. She picked a backpack that was so big, but it was pink. When she put it on and turned around, you could only see her feet and her head because it was so big. And she insisted that's what she wanted. So that's what she got. And went off to kindergarten with this enormous, looked like she was going to battle.
That's
That is so cute.
like little
I
pink
think
turtleback.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. So do we... There's no gentle segue here. I was looking for it all during this, and I just couldn't find it. The Confederate monuments.
Please.
We're bouncing back between serious and fun, serious and fun.
That was a war to separate this country. Those people fought to separate this country.
And those statues were put up not commemorating the war,
No.
but in a period when racial tensions were even higher.
Exactly. They were put up in the late 1890s and the early 1900s during the Jim Crow period.
They were put up as an intimidatory.
Exactly.
Intimidatory?
Yeah.
Is
Close enough.
Is there such a word, or have I coined?
We just coined.
All right,
That's a good
intimidatory.
Yeah, I
Well,
agree.
There you go. So, yes.
I've seen a lot of things on both sides. I mean,
Give me something on the other side
okay.
that I will refute.
Not for me. But I have friends on both sides of this issue, and I try to hear both sides. So I had a lot of people putting up the story of Robert E. Lee post-war, and the fact that he ordered all Confederate flags to be burned. And to me, I'm thinking in my mind, this just proves not your point further. But he wanted no signs of the war left over.
Right.
He became wonderful with joining the country back together and all of that. And so for that reason, his statue should stay.
No, that's just
and
the
I'm
reason why it shouldn't stay. And his descendants have been saying they don't want them up there.
Right.
They don't believe those things should be up there.
He even, I think he was even said to have said that he wanted no monuments, no commemoration of this war on their side.
Right.
That they needed to.
Right.
If that happened, then the country could never really reunite.
And we have already an attorney general whose name is Jefferson Davis Sessions, so that we really don't need any more statues to
Well,
Jefferson Davis,
I
who
would-
was leading our country into separation.
Just my take. But it seems like it was a war to destroy America as we know it. And one side lost, and it shouldn't be commemorated. It would be sort of like if the Germans had statues of Hitler to push that to that extent, but it feels the same way. It's a losing side.
And they
It's a
weren't-
dark, infamous period, and yes, it is part of our history, and it shouldn't be forgotten.
No.
It should definitely not be forgotten, especially at this time in history. But it doesn't need to be celebrated. Take the statues, put them in a museum. Don't destroy them, for God's sake.
But we don't have statues of Revolutionary War heroes who were from the British, the Redcoats. Yeah. They lost the war. I mean, and we certainly had people in this country who fought for the British. we're not commemorating them.
Right. And one of the arguments I saw to that being said, like comparing it to Germans, was, well, you still have some of the concentration camps open. To which I reply, right, because those are not celebratory at all. Those are warning. So it's sort of like the battlefields that we have today, showing the horror that we went through as a country, not celebrating or commemorating, but sort of warning future generations, don't let this happen again.
Yeah.
Gettysburg is a proud, reverent honor to that war.
Right.
Robert E. Lee sitting on a horse in a charge position is not.
No.
Thoughts?
I agree with you to an extent. I think that that statues don't need to be out for public view, but in a museum or something, so that
Yes, I mean they are a historical
they shouldn't be
monument.
destroyed, but
And-
they
and
shouldn't
I-
necessarily.
Yes, I would argue against them being unilaterally destroyed. Put them in somewhere in where they can be contextualized, and a lot of them would be difficult to do that to because they're so cheaply made because they were mass produced to be
intimidating.
Yes.
Overall, I just don't understand the idolatry of the statues overall. I don't know. I just they're statues. That's great.
Well,
You don't agree with them being out.
I just don't understand how these people are so
well, I don't think
butthurt on just.
I don't think they're
they're still-
butthurt on the statue. I think they're butthurt on the fact that they see a quote-unquote white America becoming a more homogenous community.
Thank God.
And
And they're scared.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, things come from fear. All bad reaction comes from fear.
Right.
Yeah.
And a lot of people fear what they see in this country. I mean, we're never going back to 1950 when it was mom at home, dad goes to work, kids. It's just not going to happen. No matter what we do, no matter how hard we try to do this, it's never going to be that way again. And it shouldn't, because progress is progress, and we become a better people and a worse people.
And I'm the only one here who's lived in the 50s. And I can tell
I beg your
you,
pardon.
I can tell you very honestly that
I
it was
lived
not
in the
was-wonderful.
50s.
Did you?
Yes.
Did you know? I
was one
was
of my
growing
best
up in
decades.
the 50s. No, it was not pretty. The family structure was for many people very phony.
Well, it was. I mean,
Because there were all those women who really did want a career, and then and who had trained for a career. My mother was one of them, and was a registered nurse and had to quit her job when she was married because she couldn't teach. And there were teachers like that as well. And so now these women stay home because they've been told that they're supposed to be home. That's what a woman's job is, to be home with their children. There's nothing wrong with that if you want to do it. But if you had to choose between a profession that you loved, that you could have done as well as raising children.
well, if we want to veer wildly from this, what about in wartime, when all the women were put into the jobs previously occupied by men, and they did damn good job.
They did.
Excuse me. A darn good job. And then once the men were back, whoop, back to the kitchen go ya. So
They were only good enough when the men were not around.
Indeed. It's this hypocritical champing down of anything that isn't a straight white male, powerful hoobie-doo. There we go. There's the quote for tonight. A straight white male hoobie-doo.
Who we doing?
And on that note, roll that surprise topic.
Please make it funny.
Surprise topic. This is kind of a three-part question, if you will.
All right.
I didn't bring my notebook, but okay.
Well, you don't need it. It's all good. This is all mental. Have
You know who I am.
Mental?
Oof.
I know, right? Oof. Me too. Has anyone here ever lied to get a job? That's part one. And if you have, were you able to perform the job once you got there? Or the third part, have you left? Like, did you just exit gracefully because you knew you couldn't pull it off?
No, I never lied to get a job.
Never?
No.
Wow, so I'm the only
did.
rotten one here? All right.
I guess this says more about you than it
Well,
does
I didn't
about
know. All
us.
right, look, I've only lied once. The rest of the time, other people lied for me. I've always gone through a temp agency, so they kind of get you jobs that you're not really qualified for.
Well,
most
that's
of the
different.
time.
I think that's a
Yeah, I don't know.
I did lie one time. I wanted to waitress. That was my first job ever. I went to apply as a waitress. They said, no, we don't need any waitresses, but we need a bartender. Can you do that? I was 17. I'm like, yep, sign me up. I don't know if you know anyone. Well, you bartend. You know that's should have said nope, it's not. But I learned
But I
along the
don't
way. and
know
now
that
I'm
you
pretty
lied. You just
good.
they said, "Can you do that?" And you thought you could. If they'd said, "Have you ever attended
no.
bar?" Did they
I
ask
lied.
you?
I flat out lied.
I mean, there's
I knew I couldn't bar. I never even had an alcoholic drink at that time.
There is the
I
theory that
just
in a
wanted
job
a job.
interview, if somebody says, "Oh, do you know PowerPoint?" and you don't, you can
yeah.
always learn it before you get the job.
Right.
So is that a lie or is that?
Yeah, it's foreshadowing.
There
That's foreshadowing. I know of it. I will learn PowerPoint by the time I have to use it. And that's kind of how I've always been. Like the jobs that I get that I'm not necessarily qualified for, you got to be sharp. And if I know that I'm not being sharp, I will gracefully exit. I have gracefully exited a lot of jobs that I knew I could not pull off.
Indeed. And I think a lot of times, except for, I mean, there are certain physical things that a person might not be able to do.
Right.
But I think all in all, we can pretty much learn to do anything
Yes.
we're asked to learn to do.
Everyone's expendable. You can
Well,
learn
it's-
any job.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, I don't
mean,
know though. I don't real thing about lying.
I mean, there are
to get a
things you
job.
wouldn't want to do. But
Right.
It's like I don't want someone who's read like Surgeon for Dummies to be operating on me. That's one where I'd like to
I
be a real
know
professional.
everything. I have double checked my resources. I can
all right,
perform surgery.
I'm continually speaking in generalities tonight. It's getting me in trouble. So yes,
All right.
you are.
So
you
I'm the only rotten one here. That's fine
Surprise.
with me. I'm cool with that.
roll that outro.
Yeah, and I.
Ah,
That's different.
well,
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like it in here because I'm schwitzing.
You're
But
schwitzing?
I'm schwitzing.
You have this shawl on. It's just really pretty.
Well,
by the
it
way.
is, and fashion supersedes comfort. And for all of yous who don't know, all of yous, did I just say all of yous?
Wow, Jane.
Where have I been?
Florida.
My gracious.
But that's very Pennsylvania of you.
Well, it is. Well, anyway, we'll forget that I said any of that, and we'll say fall is almost here.
Yay.
I'm so excited.
Aren't we thrilled for this?
It's
Yes,
been nice and fall
yes.
weather like this
The
week.
evenings
this
have been
week has been
delightfully
wonderful.
Yeah,
crisp.
Today was awesome. I took
Windows
David for a
open.
walk. It was great. Yeah, windows open. Oh,
Sweaters.
Yeah.
I've been wearing sweaters.
So-
I love it.
So what's your favorite fall food that you just can't wait to?
Pumpkin everything.
I don't get it.
don't do that.
Don't. I love me some pumpkin.
I don't get it.
Apple cider does not get the love it deserves for the fall.
I love apple
Apples
cider.
too.
But the pumpkin thing seems to be a marketing scheme run amok.
I've always liked pumpkin. Like it's
But
always
it
been one
doesn't
of my
taste like pumpkin. It tastes like pumpkin pie.
Tastes like pumpkin
Yeah.
seasoning.
Which is
pumpkin
fine.
pie
Cinnamon
spice.
and nutmeg.
Yeah.
The seasoning.
I mean,
And then that's what I like. But I
give me a pumpkin pie. I'll eat it all day. I
Yeah,
don't want.
right.
I don't want my pretzels to taste like pumpkin spice. I don't.
no.
Want,
No.
you
I
do
feel-
apparently.
Yeah, I do. I want everything to taste like pumpkin spice.
All right.
Yeah, pumpkin pie is the thing that I think. I love pumpkin pie.
A good crisp apple pie. Fall
Or
apple
crisp
pie.
apple pie.
Apple
Warm
anything
with
is
ice
awesome.
cream.
Oh yes.
Oh, amen, sister.
I like apple cake too. I have a recipe for Jewish apple cake that is so good. Really good. I'll just think about making one
Apfelkuchen.
for this. Sure, Apfelkuchen.
Speaking of, and do you have any?
No, I'm good.
You have no fall foods that you?
Apple.
Well,
Apple.
I see,
Apple
yeah.
pie with ice cream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Warm that up.
Soup.
That's amazing.
Oh,
So I get into
Yes.
soup territory in the fall. Everything is soup.
that's the only
I
good
make
reason to
soup all
cook a
year
turkey,
round.
to
I
make
made
broth
soup. I made-
afterwards and have
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
delicious
Turkey
soups.
soup.
some turkey soup and just have that stock to put in any other kind of soup.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Speaking of that, and I was remiss, Martha, what have you brought tonight?
Well, we have limoncello cupcakes for Jane's birthday. These are caramel, chocolate, salty caramel, and pretzel thingies.
That was easy
And
for you
there's
to
some
say.
M&Ms.
Thingies.
These are
That's the title.
hummus-based crackers. The cheese is all Italian. It's Parmesan, apple pear, and Italian herbs. And the wine is from Pinnacle Ridge, and it's called Sweet Seduction.
And
Wow,
it is
that's romantical.
seductively delicious.
Those crackers are delicious.
Yeah,
I haven't tried
I
the
think
crackers.
everything
discovered
is
them.
delicious.
And
I've
they're
been hogging
flax-free,
out.
I take it.
they are flax-free, indeed.
Only the
Now
best
that
for your
Jane's
birthday.
back, I'm buying flax-free again.
No one
Ah,
flex.
and then there's the
The sign.
eclipse. My
the
goodness.
eclipse. I thought the sign back there by mistake. I was like, oh, and then there's the birthday sign. Yeah. Oh, the eclipse. That.
Did you partially see it?
No. Yep. I missed the whole thing.
Ah. I went
Didn't
out
do
to my
anything for me.
backyard and poked a hole in a piece of cardboard and got a little picture of the eclipse. It was delightful, and now it's over.
Yeah.
It was dark. I thought it was going to rain.
I thought it was going to get a lot darker,
I
actually.
thought it would too.
I thought
We
it was gonna
watched
get a
it
lot
though
darker.
on television. Watched it for 2.5 hours.
Really?
They did a great job on MSNBC. They had meteorologists and news people at all these little towns across the country. And so as they go from one to the other, they would talk to the crowds and they would show it happening. It was really, really
Can
nice.
we back up? You watched it for how long?
It was 2.5 hours.
My favorite part of the eclipse
Why?
was watching
It was a
people
quiet
watch
day around
the
the
eclipse.
It's a very quiet day, right?
Watching this moon. I like watching people watch the eclipse. Just people looking up and going,
Right.
wow, it was hilarious to
And did
me.
you notice who didn't wear his
Ah,
glasses?
I hadn't noticed at all.
no, it was a glaring omission in the news cycle about who didn't wear his glasses while watching the.
Well, they mentioned it.
Yeah, they
They did.
definitely
Squinting
showed
up at
it
the sun.
several times.
So if he goes blind, we know what happened.
Well, never mind. What?
Be nice.
I shall. Well, it's time for another segment we like to call Roll That Tape.
Oh, roll that tape.
That's the name of the segment.
No, it isn't.
It's dirty. It's wet. It's green. It's Nicole's Greenhouse Confessions.
One of the most awkward days was filming that segment in my school
Nicole's
greenhouse.
squishing all the dirt.
Just students walking by going, what?
Why is she doing? What is Mrs. Weaver doing?
Don't ask questions. They've learned. All right, so I typically, try to resist fall as much as possible because it means I have to go back to work again, and summertime Nikki goes bye-bye. But now that it's here and I've started school, I'm, institutionalized again, so I'm ready for fall. We've had a nice little cold snap right now. I sort of feel we're going to have one more little heat wave before fall really kicks in, but now is the time to start thinking about getting your garden ready for fall and winter. So first thing is to think about planting some things. You can still plant right now. There are a lot of things that you could put in, like ornamental kale and cyclamen and chrysanthemums. I love mums. I think they're a beautiful shock of color in the fall. And the great thing is, I don't know about you, but I've planted mine and they come back every year. And they're
My perennial ones.
yeah, they're just a lovely little shrub all summer, and then all of a sudden in the fall, when everything else is going away, mums are just like, hello, I'm here. There's just like that, by the way. So you can think about planting things like that. Also, some of your spring bulbs would go in right now so that you have your bulbs for the spring. Another thing you need to start thinking about is winterizing your lawn and your garden. So I still have tomatoes that are finally ripening because my tomatoes wouldn't ripen all summer. It was the weather was just off with the rain and all of that. So I have a million green flippin' tomatoes. So once all that's done, that's a good time to start cutting down all your vegetation. And then I take it and make my husband go over it with the mower. And then it mulches it down. This is a good thing. So you get all of that green leafiness, and there's a lot of nitrogen stuck in there. And nitrogen is like plant crack. They love it. So that's good to plant crack, right? So it's good to put in your garden. So what we do is we mulch all of that down, all of that green leafiness, put it into the gardens to cover, and then that gives a really good boost to your soil and can also help with weed prevention in the spring. So those are good things to think about, getting your garden and stuff ready for the fall and the winter.
Could I just say something to clarify it for you? For those of you who are new to our audience, when Nicole says she's back to being institutionalized, she's a teacher. She's a teacher. She wasn't just home for the summer from the funny farm.
Back I go. But anyway, so, you know, I think fall, I love to do my garden beds in the spring and make them all pretty for spring and summer, but there's just something so pretty about a fall garden. Yes. So, you know, don't just think this is the end of your garden. You still have a good 2 months to do some really pretty stuff. And I think that you should share with us your gardens. You know, we have our Facebook page, we have our website. Please share some pictures. I'd love to see what you guys are doing with your gardens.
I'm still waiting for you to plant peanuts with me.
Okay, still got to do that.
And besides beautiful, you can do tasty things too, because now that the heat's down, we can plant the leafy greens again.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Right. You can get a lot of your brassicas in, like your broccoli and stuff. If you get into it, you can do a lot of work with cold frames, and you can be raising garden plants into the winter. As long as they get covered when there's snow, you can be raising crops in through December. Wow. So, you know, especially in this area when we don't really get a lot of snow until January, your garden is by far no means dead for the year. It's just starting to get good. So there's a lot to do. So there
excellent.
You go. Hey.
Roll that out.
Yay. Michael.
It's dirty. It's wet. It's green. It's Nicole's Greenhouse Confessions.
There's nothing subtle about it.
That was the best comment of the evening, and you missed it. Sorry, you missed it.
And it's not safe for TV.
No.
Martha was just taken aback. She's finally looked at Nicole's Greenhouse Confession intro and outro, and she was shocked.
I was
shocked.
Thank goodness we're not on family time.
Right?
Well,
how about it?
What are some examples? I mean, manners seem to be a little in disarray these days, but have we seen any examples of good manners lately? Something you've seen somebody do or something you've done that's... Now, I tend to open the door for people.
That's my big one.
Right,
I don't understand people who just rush through a door and let it slam in somebody's face who is behind you or in front of you. Just hold the darn door.
I'd like to see more manners, too, in driving. I mean, just
my
pulling
goodness,
out of the parking lot from Giant to turn left to go back to Temple. Guy coming from Target says, come on. That to me is great. And then you need to do that as soon as you can to the next person. But the people who will go as fast as they can to see that I can't cross the street. You know, it's like, I just think manners in driving are really important also.
Yeah, that's a huge thing because it's also a safety issue. And lately, I don't know if I've noticed it more just because I have this new car, but I've noticed a lot since my son was born because I mama bear the crap out of things on the road. If people act like idiots, now you're not just putting me in danger, you're putting my child in danger, and I will come after you. So that just doesn't jive for me.
And you have no idea you're putting, it may not just be your car, but the ones behind you. You know, there are all kinds of terrible accidents that are, you know.
Just this morning, I was coming down 222 after dropping David off, and there was this car, and there were about 4 of us driving around him. And you know how when you're in a group of cars and one person is acting like a moron, you can sort of like read each other's minds. Like you imagine you're all sitting there going like, right, this guy's ridiculous. So you could see other cars coming around him like, what is wrong with you? And he's starting to swerve and stuff too. And I knew exactly what was happening.
He was texting.
So he was looking down. And so I started honking my horn, scared the crap out of him, and I just went like this, like, what are you doing, dude? What are you doing? And he like looked at me like, how dare you? And I went, no, how dare you?
People
That's sort of against the law.
People have this bizarre concept of control. People don't realize how quickly things can happen.
Right, especially in a vehicle. Like, that's a split-second thing.
But now you have to watch what you do and say to somebody else in the next car.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
absolutely.
don't know what
Shoot
they're
you.
going to do.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or record you.
Yeah, it's not like it
You
used
never
to be.
know.
No.
Yeah, you never know.
Indeed.
Yeah, and it's
You're a relative. Well, you've been driving, but you're now with car. How have you found going out now that you have this wonderful machine that is yours and just
Fantastic.
but but how is it? Are you?
I don't know. I'm pretty cautious anyway, so,
Indeed.
I mean,
Why can't people in Reading use turn signals?
they can't use
I
turn
think there's-
signals.
They can't merge.
No,
they
don't.
can't not double park.
They can't not.
Can't not double park.
They can't stop at a red light.
Ah, indeed.
Yep.
They can't stop at a stop sign.
Reading drivers, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Get your heads out your butts and drive.
Indeed.
I'm not the best driver, but it's mostly because I'm blind.
How tough is that? And it's on, and it's off.
Indeed.
I don't understand.
Turn signals?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They weren't like some fun little feature. They're there for a
And
reason.
don't turn it on as you start turning. Then I know you're turning at that point.
Why bother?
Yes.
But I think those are the people that, as they're turning the steering
Some
wheel,
people know
they hit the
exactly
thing.
what I'm talking about, and they're sitting over there in the
I've
car.
been guilty of doing that. I'm not gonna lie. I make a last minute decision. Like, oh, click.
Can I just say that this started off about good manners?
I'm part of the
Oh,
problem.
my
I admit
goodness.
it. I turn signal as I'm turning. I've done it before than once. I'm gonna work. I'm
It's
gonna
no
try better.
help for the rest of us at that
It's
point.
like a last minute decision. Like, oh, that was where I'm turning.
I don't want to use up my blinks.
Yeah, that's what it is. I'm not wasting
It's
my
not like
life.
heartbeats, darling. You don't have a limited amount of heartbeats.
It's not like
You have-
Lives in Mario.
There's
more where that came from.
When the blinker dies, you can put a new one in.
And it's people who
just
don't
stick your
turn
arm out the window.
their lights on when it's raining really heavily.
Oh, yes.
Driving their gray car and
Or
they have
at
no
night.
lights on. Or at night.
night.
Because they think it's going to run their battery down. It's like,
Is
really?
that the mentality?
That's what my husband told me.
Now you've
Come
got me.
on.
Now you've got me fired
Great.
up.
Now
Those
Jane's
people
shorts
who
are
don't
on a bunch.
replace their one headlight, and they turn on the high beams so that they can make up for the high.
But that's a
For the light that
padiddle.
went
Didn't
out.
you ever play padiddle when you were in high school?
I don't
yeah,
care about fiddle. I care about being blinded while I'm riding down the road.
But it was
Just
a good game
replace
in
the
high
dawn
school.
light.
What?
It was a good game in high school.
It
yeah.
was a great game.
Well, fine.
Stated.
Anyway, so what's made you laugh in the last week?
So,
This.
So many things. Oh my gosh. This card is great.
My kid is a constant source of entertainment. He's the funniest person I know. He and I have discovered Snapchat together, and he loves it. And he does all kinds of fun things on Snapchat.
Oh my
And
goodness,
just-
I didn't Snapchat.
Snapchat is always good for a fun laugh.
And just the way he talks, like the passion that he puts into things. And all of a sudden at dinner, he'll just start to tell us a story. And my husband and I are like, what is this? Where is this coming from? He'll be like, do you guys remember that time? No, listen to me. Like he does this. No, listen to me.
Oh my gosh.
What?
That's so funny.
He's the coolest.
He is the coolest.
coolest.
I've just logged into Kirk's Snapchat channel.
Nice.
oh,
My
Well,
goodness,
something that's made me laugh, I've been
taken a
working
picture of it.
with children, like young children, in the last few weeks. So
That'll do
really
it.
funny. They are funny kids.
Funny kids.
Funny kids.
Like, excuse me, I'm typing.
Oh, sorry.
What else is
Focus.
funny?
Oh my
Jane,
gracious.
we just talked about good manners.
Here's something that's interesting. Well, no one's perfect. Here's something that I had never heard of before. Hat fishing.
I'd never heard of that either.
Hat fishing.
Never heard of
Can
that.
you explain hat fishing to
It was
us?
on the news the other day, and it's, I guess, how people wear hats to cover bald spots now.
Oh my gosh, that's so
neck
funny.
just
It was
goes
on
like
the
On
news.
dating pictures and stuff?
I have no clue, but it
That's
was on the news
Funny. Hat fishing.
last Friday, I think. Yeah,
I
fishing.
love that.
It makes sense. I mean,
I
think about
never
it. Like
heard of it,
somebody
though.
will look totally different with a hat or with hair.
Oh,
and then they
yes.
take it off
Yes.
and it's like, wait a minute.
Wait, that is not you.
Yeah, right. You didn't look like that.
Yeah, I mean, a hat can totally change your. I mean, look at all the baseball players. You see them, or football players. You see them. Well, mostly baseball because football covers too much. But on baseball, you're watching people with these hats on, and you think,
Yeah.
oh, he's cute, and then they
then
take the
they
hat
take the
off,
hat
and
off,
like,
like, oh, no.
oh no, never mind.
Put it back.
Indeed.
Put your hat back on.
You were fine with the hat. Oh my goodness gracious.
That's so
well, I think that's fascinating, and just
Never heard of it. Never saw it until.
I've never heard of
so no one has hat
I've heard of
fished.
cat
I'm sure
fishing,
it's
but I've
done,
never
though.
heard of hat fishing.
I'm sure on dating sites.
It was
that's
just.
Oh, it has to be a thing.
We have so little time left. Well, I want to get this in. Best local places for ice cream.
Scoop DeVille.
I've never been
It's
there.
on
you
Gibraltar
stole
Road.
mine.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
a cute little place. It's like decorated 50s style, has jukeboxes. The servers wear little poodle
Where is it?
skirts.
Where
and
is it? Where is it?
It's in Exeter. It's on Gibraltar Road, right where 724 goes into Birdsboro. It's fun.
Oh,
Cute. It's like a little blue building. It's all like 60s, 50s, 60s.
It's right next to
theme.
the Turkey Hill.
Yeah, it's adorable. You have
Oh,
to go
cool.
there. It's
The
super
ice
cute.
cream, that's the Harvest. There's a little delis in Temple
Elizabeth
called the
Ave.
Harvest.
On Elizabeth Ave.
On Elizabeth Avenue, Elizabeth and
Okay.
Kutztown Road.
Yep.
They sell the most wonderful ice cream. It's homemade in Lancaster County.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
so rich and it's so good.
Next road
It's,
trip.
it's very wonderful. Yes.
Is that?
Shells is
Is it-
fun.
you
Shells
agree?
is
Shells
good.
is fun.
Oh,
Shells is
yes,
fun.
I like
Still have
Shells.
a miniature golf. You can.
Yeah.
And there's Oregon Dairy.
All right.
I forgot
no,
about that.
no one's been. I was
You know
just
what?
there
I
the
just
other
heard
night.
there's another place. You know where the Blue Marsh Canteen used to be?
Yes.
And there was a florist or a nursery next to it. Well, that sold out, and there's some people who bought it, and they have some organic produce that they sell. But I hear their ice cream is incredible.
And I hear that Libby's in Tamaqua,
Yeah.
Tamaqua is reopening.
Yes. Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh.
I don't know if it's true, but I hear they're going to do it. We have so little time left.
Can
Is
we
there
do that
anything?
Let's do an
Can we
ice
do
cream
that like
road
instead of a
trip.
wine tour? Can we do an ice
we
cream
should
tour?
do an ice cream
All
tour.
right, I'm
That
totally
would be
down for
amazing.
that.
Is there anything anybody has coming up that they want to give a shout out to?
Welcome
quick?
back to everybody going back to school, teachers, faculty, staff, students. Make it a good year, make good decisions, make it your best year yet. How about that?
Yeah, what she said. That.
Yeah.
See what I did there?
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Drum roll.
Well, thank you, Heather, for being with us again.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We love that. And she's going back to school, too.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
Exciting.
You are.
Yes.
Good for you. Thanks. Bravo.
She's doing Cracker Jack at school. That's great.
Keep us posted.
Yeah.
Keep coming in and letting us know.
Ah.
And get your daughter to call.
We like her.
Get that Lance to call
Get your
too.
daughter to call.
Oh, my goodness. Well, that's what she said. We are on next on Monday, September 25th at 9 p.m. Of course, at 9 p.m. Where the heck other time would we be on? And you can check us out online at www.that'swhatshesaidonline.com. You'd think I'd know this by now.
gotta practice,
Or
Jane.
twss.tv. Check us out on Facebook at She Posts to Me, and we're thrilled to be here. I'm thrilled to be back with my ladies.
glad to have you
and
back.
thank
We
you
missed
to
you.
Joan, Matt, and Caitlin for being with us tonight. And, well, that's what she said. See you on September 25th.
Bye.
Bye.